Zane brought us the beer. Zane, do you want to talk about the beer which you have brought for us this evening?
I do. It is Left Hand Brewing out of Longmont, Colorado. We're starting with the Extrovert IPA. And it tastes like what the label looks like.
Like people dancing?
It tastes like a big explosion of the color green. This is way too hoppy for me.
This is not St. Patrick's Day in Chicago. That's an explosion of green. There's literally green exploding from people during that day.
That's true.
Been there, done that.
Let's see. Do we actually have audio? I think we've got...
Mm-hmm.
We do have audio.
We're all set.
Alrighty.
Alright, so it's brought to us by Zane, and introductions. I'm Curtis James.
Chase Viking Redbeard.
Zane Stolzerwolf.
And did we already cling? Did I miss that?
Yeah, we already...
God damn
no, Clink? We didn't Clink.
Yeah, gotta start
There
the
you go.
episode off. I thought maybe I missed it.
Alright, so we are now through the group stage. And... I don't know if that came through on camera, but this freshman right here is just foaming all over his... Yeah, no, it's clearly...
Yep, there we go.
God.
I started off last week by spilling my beer, and I start off this week again by spilling my beer.
You need a pregame less.
And the booze hound is there to pick it up again.
Yep.
You guys need to pregame more.
No, I'm good with not spilling on myself.
Hey, this time it was just my feet. We're okay.
Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll do it in the order that the groups were played. We had on Thursday night, Group B, Longzhu, the standings were at the time, Longzhu 3-0, Immortals 2-1, Gigabyte Marines 1-2, and Fnatic with the 0-3. No team had ever made it out of groups, starting 0-3.
And then came back to take second place.
Yeah, and went 0-4 first even.
Well, 1-4.
No, they lost to Longzhu first. They went 0-4, and then they proceeded to win their next two and two tiebreakers.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
No, they went 4-1 because they lost against Longzhu
Right,
first.
but they were 0-4, and then they...
Yes, that's how math works.
Yes.
To add things.
It's more so time.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't think anybody was surprised by Longzhu coming out like that, especially beating 6-0. I think after the first week, they really looked like they had a real firm grasp on that group, and they're one of the few teams that looked like, nope, we got this, and entirely just walked away with it. So, good for them. Let's see, what predictions did we all have for Group B? Everyone had Longzhu. Zane had Fnatic, followed by Immortals and Gigabyte. So he was pretty close.
I was not close at all.
You and I both had Immortals, and then I had Fnatic Gigabyte, and you had Gigabyte Fnatic.
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously the big story here is Fnatic.
Yeah.
Where was this Fnatic week 1?
They hadn't showed up yet, but I'm glad they finally did.
Absolutely.
Sad
for Immortals, but
I
love Fnatic.
My tag in the game right now is FNC all the way.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
So no, Fnatic's the team that I've been wanting to go. I just wasn't expecting.
Right?
I wrote them off week 1, and I was like, okay.
I
doesn't
didn't give
really
up
make a whole
on you
lot
guys.
of sense.
I did not give up.
You're right, and kudos to Zane for that. But, I mean, seriously, they didn't look that impressive in the play-in.
It was partially luck.
That's the best sandbagging we've ever seen. Because they made it
Top
look
level.
authentic.
Yeah, they even got on social media to sandbag. That's how hard they went. No, in-game isn't enough. Let's make them think we hate each other, guys.
Yep.
And it worked.
And
Play-ins, they looked okay. Week 1, they did not look okay. And they showed up week 2, and they did. They just handily took it to everyone. I mean, Longzhu obviously did beat them, and they didn't look great in that game. They looked okay in that game. I think Longzhu was head and shoulders above everybody else in that group. But yeah, they went toe-to-toe with Gigabyte being crazy and aggressive. They're like, fuck it, we can do this too. And they won. And Immortals just didn't have it. It might have been, it's their first time at Worlds. The only person on that roster who had been to Worlds before, I believe, was Xmithy. And he's been a couple times on different teams.
Sure.
No, Pobelter. Pobelter and Xmithy have both been with CLG. Xmithy also was there with Vulcan back in the day, Season 3. But yeah, I think the lack of experience, Pobelter wasn't able to play as well as he did Week 1. I think teams focused on keeping him out of the game, and they did a good job of it. So, I hope Immortals can use this to grow next year and be really competitive in NA. But as for right now, Fnatic, they have, I think, the most momentum of any team. Just because of what they had to go through, I think that momentum could help them out in the quarterfinals, maybe. Like, in training going forward, in their scrims. Like, they've got this, we can fucking do it attitude. I mean, they played a best of 5 on Thursday night. They played a best of 5, and they went 4-1.
Yep.
Not bad. Like, and they know, we can
Not
lose the
bad.
first game and fucking come back. Like, they didn't lose heart. Because when they had lost to Longzhu, not only did they have to win out, but they also needed every other game to go exactly right, or they were out.
Yep.
They had to have
Well,
Longzhu...
Immortals had to have been beaten by Longzhu. Longzhu just pretty much had to take the cake. Like
yeah,
they did.
Longzhu had to go 3-0. Fnatic had to win the other 2 games. And Immortals had to beat...
I mean, Longzhu could have gone 2-1 and had
right, yeah, they had to not give up a game.
Fnatic pick up that particular win.
Yeah, if Fnatic beat Longzhu, that would be fine.
And then we wouldn't
Fnatic.
have had all that tiebreaker
Right.
stuff.
But
to
then
go,
they also
but yeah.
needed Gigabyte Marines to beat Immortals, because if Immortals wins that, there's no tiebreaker either. They have 3 wins and they lock up the group.
Yep.
So everything went exactly right, and Fnatic had to play both tiebreakers, and they absolutely stomped Immortals in the tiebreaker. And the one against Gigabyte was close. It was very back and forth. There was Baron stuff. There was people getting picked, but they persevered through that game and they got it done. I mean, I don't think there's any team that deserves the applause as much as Fnatic for what they did. It was very impressive.
To Fnatic.
To Fnatic.
My notes for the Gigabyte Fnatic game, the last one is Fnatic takes a pain train to the base and secures the Nexus. Because that's what happened at the end.
Yeah.
Like, you're right, it was very back and forth.
So, the most ridiculous thing about it, like how nobody had ever come back after being 0-3, and so definitely nobody had ever made it after being 0-4. It's impossible to make it after going 0-5.
Yes.
It's mathematically impossible. So they did as terribly as you possibly can to start, and then turned it on.
Okay. I think that our head shakes of disapproval made the difference.
That's what they saw us shake our head, and they're like, because nothing hurts worse than like knowing you disappointed somebody.
We're not mad. We're still gonna love you.
We said that. We said we're not mad. We're just disappointed, and we're no longer disappointed at all. I am proud of those guys. Everybody nod at Fnatic. We're proud of you.
So crazy. Nope, that was definitely, like, everything this week was crazy.
Oh, it was a great week. This has been one of the best worlds, honestly. I'm glad you're coming into it now, because you're not going to see this good again, probably. I mean, because even play-ins were a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, what else from that group? I mean, Longzhu's looking great. Fnatic, they're on a roll. Immortals, yeah.
So, I mean, I know technically not possible, but what happens if we change this group up a little bit, and it was Longzhu and one of the other...
Oh, if we put a
realm.
different 1 seed? If it was like G2, Flash Wolves, or EDG, those would be the other teams that would have been the number 1, possibly. I mean, technically, like, because of the matchups, like, you can't actually put G2 in this group.
Yeah, no, I mean, because Longzhu went 6-0.
Yeah.
They took the cake. But, I mean, it seems like they may have gotten, like, an easier group.
Oh, are you talking more so if Longzhu was playing other people?
Yeah. Like, if they would have been moved around a little bit, or at
It's
least...
really hard to say. I think Longzhu might have dropped a game, but it really depends. I don't know if they've even had to try that hard.
I think you're right, actually. And that's kind of what my next point was going to be is... Like, they didn't have to do anything. It was just basically handed to them. There were a couple close games here and there. I mean, they weren't even close. They were relatively
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, I think it was going into groups. A lot of people said, "Oh, group of D's, the group of life," because I think not because it's the easiest overall group, but it was because there's 2 open slots. Like it looked like there was 3 teams who could vie for it. Whereas in Group B, you knew Longzhou was going to take number 1.
Yep.
Like you look at the other 3 teams, and you're like, if any like last seed's going to make it, you're like, Gigabyte, Fnatic, like. That'd be the one. Like, Immortals isn't super scary. Like, they're good, but it's like, okay, any of those 3 could take it, and we really thought it was between Immortals and Fnatic, and, I mean, at the very end, Immortals ended up getting last.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Longzhou's the only one that went 6-0. I mean, SKT didn't even make that happen. They lost one to AHQ, and it made them look bad.
They didn't look... We'll get there, but I don't think SKT's looked great. I mean, they've done this before in Worlds, but... Yeah, Longzhou did look solid. Every one of their games, I never was terribly worried for them. Like, Gigabyte did get out to, like, a lead on them in one game, I think, and, other teams stayed close with them, but it was never like,
It was always like the first 10 minutes of their games were going in the opposite team's favor.
Yeah.
And then about the 10-15 minute mark is when they really started to play a little bit more strategically. They started to pick their battles. They started to even try to pick what objectives they wanted.
Yeah, and I definitely don't feel like they showed any, like, early game strats. And we might start seeing that here in the quarterfinals, where they're like,
I think
this is
we're
something
gonna
we
have
can
to.
do.
I mean, because they made it through their group without really having to try all that hard, it kind of seems like.
Yeah,
but
which
like,
is good for them.
Them having to deal with the other 1 and 2 seeds from every other group is going to start giving them, hopefully, a little bit more of a headache. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think my last thought on that group is I really enjoyed watching Gigabyte Marines. Levi is definitely a world-class jungler, and if he doesn't go to, like, some other team to, like, play it up in a bigger stage and a bigger region, I fully expect to see them at MSI and then again at Worlds next year. They're good. They're absolutely a good team. So, thoughts?
Concisely said?
You're like, I love Fnatic, that's my thought. What the fuck are you doing? Up there, dumbass. Alright, so moving on to Group C then. Last week we left that group RNG 3-0, Samsung Galaxy at 2-1, G2 at 1-2, and Fenerbahce at 0-3. And we finished with Royal Never Give Up being the only team to go 6-0 out of the group. In the group of death, they went 6-0.
Not bad.
Now, I mean, people can argue how hard this group actually ended up being at the end of the day, but I still think RNG just looked really good.
Wait. How did they go 6-0? RNG went...
Oh, no, you're right. They lost. Longzhou was the only one at 6-0.
Yeah.
I jumped backwards somehow. Yeah, they lost one to G2 this week. Yeah.
Yo. No.
Yeah,
5-1. Still super solid.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So,
And I'm pretty sure that the one that they gave up, it was still pretty close. It was just a couple misplays towards the end, and it just snowballed out of their control.
Well, I think that one was a little more early that G2 got a lead, if I remember correctly.
I watched a lot of games between then and now, so...
Yeah, I feel like G2 played a bit heavier early that game, but, I mean, RNG, Uzi's looking great. Uzi, he's been to Worlds before. He's been here, done that, but he's always been inconsistent. And
Sure.
he's looking very consistent this year. I mean, if you saw him, it's one of his pocket picks, but he pulled out that Vayne, and he went off. I mean, he went off on everything he played. Twitch, Tristana, like everything. He just played well. And the Ardent Sensor meta helps him being an aggressive team carry AD, but, I mean, he's making the most of it, absolutely. Thoughts? Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, G2 was my biggest surprise this whole thing. I fully expected them to take the number 1 spot and to move out of this group.
Yeah.
Fenerbahce, I figured they were going to come in at the lower end.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I thought they'd go
They went
6,
0-3 the first week, and they didn't look over... Like, they played well, but they didn't play at the level that they could have if they didn't have Crash on their team right now.
That's exactly where I'm at with them. They were good, and I think Crash's style is great for them. I think I said last week that I think it'd be cool if
If
they
they
were able to keep Crash.
Pick him up and then
Yeah.
actually get a whole year in with him, and
Yeah,
we
and
might see a whole new team
You
next
could learn
year.
some English, and then you could have Crash and Move, and they can interchange those junglers depending on what kind of team they're going against. If it's a team where they're like, oh, they're a late game team, let's fucking nail them early, let's do that. Or if they're against a team they're like, actually, they have a pretty weak mid game, let's play with Move, and then they can like sustain through the early game, and then mid game take it to them because Move's a better like team mid to late game player. So it'd be really cool to see that happen with Fenerbahce going forward. No idea what's going to happen, obviously. But
Doesn't matter, guys. I'm going to cheer you guys on next year, too. Hopefully you guys make it this far.
yeah, I mean, Fenerbahce, though, they looked great for having a
I mean, this would have been the
out-of-nowhere
Cinderella
jumper.
story. This is what we all wanted to happen.
Yeah. But no, I mean,
We
they showed
got
up.
one Cinderella story, I guess. I can't be too upset that we didn't get two.
Yeah, and I gotta say, though, this was supposed to be the group of death with G2, Samsung Galaxy, and RNG, and I think all three of those teams looked good. RNG looked the best, and I don't think that's questionable. But I don't think G2 looked bad by any means. I think they just weren't quite enough. They couldn't outplay Samsung Galaxy at the same style.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The number 3 coming from Korea is still a really good team. And I think everybody, those 3 teams, they did well. It's disappointing not to see G2 get further. It'd be nice to see them go on, especially with Perks. He played really well this week. He was a little inconsistent last week. I think this week he did show up. It just wasn't quite enough.
Maybe it was just the sampling of games that I managed to watch this week, but I actually thought, like, coming out of Europe, I thought G2's game that I saw looked better than any of what I've seen from Fnatic.
Yeah, oh, no. G2...
Like, G2 is super solid.
G2 is a better team than Fnatic, but RNG and Samsung Galaxy are head and shoulders above Immortals and Gigabyte Marines. That's not even a question. You throw Immortals or Gigabyte Marines in that group, they're not grabbing games. They grab a game, maybe.
Sure.
Whereas G2 came out...
Against Fenerbahce.
They would have gotten both of those, hopefully, but maybe not. I could see them go 1-1 against Fenerbahce, at least, Gigabyte, possibly, if whatever they do early didn't work. But, I mean... It was really good teams. G2 wasn't just quite there. I think a lot of it did have to do style-wise. Them facing Samsung, who they're very similar to, was an issue. If they play against a different style team of the same caliber, they might make it out of that group. So, yeah, a little disappointing to see G2 not make it. Hopefully they're able to come around next year. But I definitely don't feel like they put up a bad performance. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, Immortals... kind of should be a little ashamed of how they played second week. They weren't there for it. And, I mean, do we have anything else to say about it? I think Samsung's good, but I don't find them to be impressive. I don't expect them to, like, make a run like, Korean teams do all the time.
Yeah, I think that this will be their last win.
Yeah, and when their matchup doesn't help them, but we'll get there.
Yes.
So, yeah, G2 I don't think should be ashamed. But speaking of teams that should be ashamed, let's head to Group D.
Oh, God.
Where you boys, TSM.
God damn. This was a rough night to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I was already sad after IMT, and then watching TSM. Like, I stayed up and I watched them live. And
the only good thing that came out of this is that our number 2, like, cheering on team, WE, they did do as well as they did. It just so happened that they had to shit on TSM on their way to get there.
And WE looked good. Did they look great? Did they look like, Longzhu or RNG? I don't think so.
No.
But they look good.
They played their games very strategically. I mean, we've known that going in from the play-ins, that they've got, like, a very chess-like game. And they played that game every single game.
Yeah.
So,
They sure as fuck aren't
well,
a Grandmaster.
No.
WE, the game I saw of WE's was when they pulled out the Caitlyn.
Yeah. That one came out of I think
no.
RNG might have played it once too.
During plans, I was always saying, WE goes by chalk and numbers, plays for late game, very scheduled, very rigid. Mm-hmm. That game proved me wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it had to do with the teams.
Yeah, like they picked smart and they made something really unconventional, really effective, and really successful.
Yeah,
so
I think what we saw, like, in play-ins was
Hats off WE. You made a fool out of me.
knew they were a better team than what it was. Gambit and who else were they playing?
Thank you.
Oh man! And can anybody think back that far? Gambit lost. Who took number 2 out of that group? Lion Gaming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I think
Gambit won 0 wins.
Yep. Yeah, it was Lion Gaming took number 2 out of that group. And I think WE just knew they were a better team, and so they could play the late game. They're like, we're not going to end up 10k back. We're going to end up maybe 4k back. And if we're playing for the late game, that's going to be fine. So I think, seeing the Caitlyn come out, which I'll have plenty. We'll talk about after the groups, things like the Caitlyn and stuff, but I was super happy to see that. I think WE looked good. Flash Wolves, they didn't really show up well this tournament. But the team that showed up the least... Oh, he's got it. Team that showed up the least, though...
Looked like he was looking for it, too, but it was in his hand.
It was in his hand the whole time. The team that showed up the least yesterday, or this
Curtis has a little catching up.
this week, was TSM. They got their one win to stay alive against Misfits, because they had lost to Misfits last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had nothing. They had nothing left. Absolutely nothing left after that.
I'd like to double the amount of head shaking I have for TSM, because now I have to watch Cloud9.
Hey, fuck you.
Hey, Cloud9, they had probably the most heart.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that. Group D, though. I know you want to get away from the giant disappointment that is TSM. For as much head shaking as we gave Fnatic, we were disappointed that 0-3. TSM, I'm sorry, worlds after worlds, they show up as the number 1 seed from the US, they dominate NALCS, they win the championship over and over. The only 3 teams who have ever won the championship, a split in NA, have been TSM, Cloud9, and CLG. TSM consistently comes to Worlds and does not make it out of group. All the time it's, well, they had a Korean and a Chinese team. Last year they had Samsung Galaxy, who was the 2 seed, and RNG, who was the 1 seed, I believe. Or no, they might have been 2 seed as well. But whatever, they come in that group, and it's like a fucking hard group, and they don't make it out. The year before, kind of hard group. This year they walk in with what's supposed to be the easiest fucking group. And they cannot make it out.
Yep, I mean, Flash Wolves literally shit themselves. Like, I know they didn't lose to Flash Wolves, but...
They did! They lost that last game to Flash
you're
Wolves.
You're right.
Yeah.
That is where they got their first win.
Yeah, if they beat Flash Wolves, they make it on. They couldn't even do that.
Yeah, okay. So,
It's just...
retraction, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah, they...
Watching TSM gives
Like-
me a retraction. That's how bad it was.
No, that was supposed to be my comment. Yes, no, TSM shit themselves on a team that shit themselves on everyone else.
Yeah!
It's like...
Flash Wolves gets 1 win, and it's against TSM.
It's
And it
the
wasn't even
wor-
close.
No, it wasn't.
They had a little comeback in the middle. That was it.
It was almost like TSM just like was having like what the Fnatic issues were happening in the first week.
Yeah.
Like something. There's no way that there's not something happening in the background that didn't
Yeah.
possibly affect this. Like I don't know if maybe they just let their heads get to them,
I
or
don't-
if they're just wanting to make more excuses.
I don't think there's anything in the background. I think it's front and center. Sven Skaren is not good. He is no longer a world-class jungler. He hasn't been for 2 years. Everybody forgave him last year at Worlds. I mean, obviously you wouldn't know this. He showed up, and he played Lee Sin, and he played Lee Sin really well. But that was all he could play. And they didn't make it out of groups, because, okay, fucking ban him.
Mm-hmm.
And they had nothing to give week 2. They went into week 2 last year at Worlds, 2-1. And they went 0-3, because the other teams just banned Lee Sin, and they had nothing left. This year... I mean, he had no kills in the first week. I think he got a couple this week. The final game, their tiebreaker against Misfits, they pick the Jace. They go to carry through Hanser, who is, in my opinion, I think it's pretty easy to say this is factual, Hanser was their best player. Hanser showed up every fucking game. Week 1, he had that 5-man Gnarl. Like, granted, they were already ahead that game, but, like, he was
Sure.
constantly doing things to play well. He was consistent. Whereas Doublelift made bad plays. Bjergsen played pretty well overall, but he wasn't able to get anything rolling.
Right. The Bjergsen I saw was pretty good. I mean, not consistent. Hanser, he plays super smart.
Yeah, the one game I saw him do bad was the the game against Flash Wolves, and they put him on Cho'Gath, and you can go back and look at this clip. When they lock in Cho'Gath, like the player cam, it goes to Haunter from him, and he goes, like, he is not happy. He is pissed that he was going to play Cho'Gath again. And the thing is, he kept not getting any support from Svenskeren, who's fucking running around doing nothing. That last game, they give him Jace. Jace is a champ. You camp his lane early as a jungler, because you get him ahead, and they just rolls fuckers. And they didn't do that. Sven showed up, like, twice. Sven didn't even use his ultimate until 23 minutes. He used it 3 or 4 times the entire game.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. You used your ult not for the first 23 minutes of the game. Why are you playing jungle? Why are you playing Sejuani? You should be showing up with that ultimate top, throwing it, and getting kills on Jace. But no, Sven just doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's running around with his head up his ass going, oh, I guess I'll get another jungle camp. Like, they need to get rid of him. And I've disliked Parth's drafts at times, and he stepped down. I wish him the best. I don't know if he's going to stay as an analyst for TSM. I think he's great for that. He wasn't meant to be a coach, and I'm glad he's not going to be their coach anymore. They need to bring in somebody who's intended for that role.
Sure.
But they also need to bring in somebody who's intended for jungle, because Sven isn't anymore. It's not good.
I mean, do you see him maybe getting traded to a different team and then maybe, like, trying to have to refigure things out? Like, maybe he's just feeling too comfortable with the team?
I mean,
or
that
maybe there's issues within the team that are stopping him.
I think part of the issue within the team is the coaching, because we've seen this happen with TSM before. They've done it with Svenskeren. They did it with Amazing, who was a previous jungler they got from Europe. I can't remember who the one before that was. They basically had 3 junglers in a row that they brought in, and they were originally, like, aggressive and very good junglers, and they end up being what Sven is, where they just kind of farm and ward and don't do anything. TSM has kind of built this culture of not being an early game aggressor, and part of that has to do with trying to copy the Korean model, where it has been these late game comps, and we're seeing it, for the most part, Longzhu's the exception to the rule, but we're seeing it out of Samsung, Galaxy, and SKT still, where they're late game teams. They're team fight, they're slow, they're late, they're calculated. It's like playing the map, and they give themselves very high percentage plays. But you have someone like Bjergsen. You have Haunter, who's really come into his own this year. I don't know that we're going to see Doublelift back next year. He might finally, like, fully retire, which then a real big question becomes, who do you bring as for AD carry?
Well,
but I think if you get an aggressive jungler,
Svenskeren and Doublelift, like,
yeah,
their whole team's going to be in chaos. Like, it's
they need to lose Svenskeren, so I don't take that as a loss.
Don't necessarily disagree, but, like, they got to where they are because of him.
But they're still going to have Bjergsen.
Maybe not because of him, but, like, with the assistance of him.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they got 2 worlds with him. They just didn't
I would argue they got to Worlds in spite of him, because he wasn't even good in NA. Bjergsen, Haunter, and Doublelift were just better than the people they were playing against.
Okay.
And so when it comes down to it, though, I think if you give an aggressive jungler to Bjergsen and play the way Cloud9 does, where Contracts will make visits, and you have Biofrost, who's a great support, Smoothie makes visits to mid, you do all these visits to mid, get Bjergsen ahead. If he's up a kill and an assist in, 15 CS, Bjergsen will take over the game. And I understand him playing the Ryze, it's in meta, but it's that slow play. I feel like TSM needed to be aggressive, and they didn't have it in them at all. The only person who was willing to play that way was Haunter, and he wasn't getting support. And we've seen aggressive play pay off, WE pulling out the Caitlyn.
Sure.
And they steamrolled with it.
So, I mean, in terms of jungle picks, like, do you think there were better picks that he could have potentially made? Like, I mean,
possibly.
Like, I mean, I know that I caught kind of like the tail end of, like, the last year. I don't know if it was pre what Worlds is, but, like, I saw a lot of Zach. I saw a lot of Ivern. I saw, I think I saw more Graves than I've seen now.
Oh, yeah, Graves was huge last year.
And
or last split, I mean.
Like, I missed Worlds, I think, but I caught, like, some of those games, and, like, I was seeing all of those different jungle picks. Like, why switch everything to the Gragas, Sejuani?
So what
Ezreal?
happened was we had aggressive junglers like Rek'Sai and Graves last split.
A whole bunch of Rek'Sai.
Right. Well, and
now, yeah.
so you're still seeing a little bit from junglers like Contracts. So what they did, though, was they nerfed Rek'Sai. They made some change. She used to be able to get a group pop-up. Now it's a single target pop-up, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some junglers like Gragas were already coming into vogue. Because he's good sustain, he's got displacement, he's got burst, he's got really good early ganks. so he could keep up with that early aggression jungler like Rek'Sai, who falls off in the mid to late game, and he had tank, so he's still really effective mid to late.
Sure.
So the tanks started coming in, and then Sejuani got a rework and everything, so like that's when those junglers came in, and so the metas shifted to the tanks, and I think one of the great things we're seeing at World right now is that the meta coming in was Ardent Censer bot with a late game AD carry, Xayah, Tristana, Xayah, Tristana, Twitch, and Kog'Maw. Those are the big four.
Okay, yeah.
They're all late game carries. And you pick an Ardent Censer, Lulu, Janna, Lulu, generally in that order, and that's what you do.
Oh yeah, there's been pretty much Lulu Janna every single game that's been played.
Mid lane's been a little more amorphous, but it's been a lot of Ryze or Galio, some Cassiopeia. That one doesn't have like a real set. It's not an assassin meta. It's not a zone control meta. So that one's kind of open. And then top lane, you're seeing tanks, and jungle, you're generally seeing tanks. However, we're seeing a few exceptions to the rule. We're seeing some aggression in bot with the Caitlyn. We've seen Misfits pull out, which we haven't even gotten to them yet. Misfits pulling out Blitzcrank and some of the playmaking supports who don't do Ardent Censer. I think we'll see things like Alistar and stuff come, because there's been a little bit of nerf to Alistar, but he still has a heal.
Well,
he
they've been
has
playing the
CC.
same patch the entire time. We
Right.
saw a whole bunch of Alistar in the play-ins, and
Yeah.
then they dropped off this week. I
Yes.
feel like I've seen almost no Alistar
Yeah, so
this week.
I think we'll start seeing a little more aggressive because we're seeing the early game aggressions working. So we might see aggressive supports come in. We
So
have
like
a
the
couple.
meta's shifting within Worlds right
Yes,
now.
yeah. It usually takes through group stage to really like figure out what it is, but yeah, we're still not sure, which is great. We're seeing Trundle show up in the top lane as the anti-tank
Oh, yeah.
because that's what he is. He's a tank destroyer, and then we're seeing a couple junglers like Contracts play aggressive junglers. So we could see this whole meta shift towards aggressive play again, which would be fucking great in my opinion because I love those games.
Sure.
But
they're
so
more
when
fun to watch.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, TSM doesn't play anything aggressive. They don't seem to know how. And they weren't playing the late game as good as everyone else because Doublelift was being inconsistent. I mean, the most painful thing is the meme right now real hard is that he's saving his flash for next year. He died 3 times, I think, with Sums Up. Like, it was bad. And Bjergsen, like, while he was good, it just wasn't good enough. And I feel like it all runs through the jungle. That Svenskeren wasn't getting in that team anything to work with. Because we talked about last week, like, Sven doesn't have any kills. I mean, at least when he's dying, the team's getting something off of it. And yeah, he got a couple kills this week, but teams were not over-committing to the kills on Svenskeren because they realized he's not doing anything. So don't use all your shit to kill him. Just if you kill him, you do. If you don't, he walks away and you don't lose anything. So he goes back to base and now there's no pressure. And they dominated them. So yeah, TSM, just... There's so much wrong with them. I mean, we just did like a 15-20 minute rant on it.
I mean, Misfits were... They played a little bit better
Misfits
than I
is
thought they
the
would.
biggest surprise of the tournament.
I
Like,
had
Fnatic
them...
coming back is one thing, but they're an established team. Misfits just came from Challenger, man.
I had them in my number 2 pick. I had them getting out of this
You
group.
had that? You had the number 2?
Yeah, that was the only... Like,
You did!
that was the only one I got right. I got so boned by this
Shit.
bracket that week, but no, I had Misfits coming out number 2, but I had TSM in the 1 spot.
I'd like to
We
point out...
all had TSM.
I would like to
on
point out
spot.
that Zane had it exactly right if you read it backwards. He had TSM... Oh, no, Flash Wolves got last. Never mind. Yeah, he had TSM, Flash Wolves, Misfits, WE.
But I did get Fnatic almost right.
No, you got Fnatic exactly right. You had Longzhu, Fnatic, Immortals.
Oh!
You had Gigabyte and Immortals back and forth, but it doesn't matter. Now, so this group, he had TSM, Flash Wolves, Misfits, WE. I had TSM, WE, Flash Wolves, Misfits, and you had TSM, Misfits, Flash Wolves, WE. None of us were even close. I don't think anybody was close on this group, because, I mean, you could say, oh, WE's going to get out, but
Well, it's
who saw
because-
Misfits also making it out?
It's because WE played so consistent.
Consistently. It was good,
And
but
TSM
yeah.
just fucked themselves so bad.
They deserved it. They deserved to lose.
You're
though.
right. Like,
They
after
got it.
watching those games, there's no way to say that they don't deserve to move on. They
They
didn't-
do. There's no way to say they do deserve to move on.
Yeah.
He used a triple negative, so it worked.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
There's no way they don't deserve to go on. But
Yeah, that was double. He needed
Oh,
a triple.
whoops.
They don't deserve to not
They
go
don't.
on.
I said something.
There's no
and
way
it
they
made
don't
sense in my
deserve to not
brain.
go.
I was on your wavelength.
But yeah, I knew what you meant. But yeah, I just hats off to to Misfits though. Misfits, week 2.
I was with you guys in my number 2 pick.
They brought it with early aggression and in the bot lane, not by going Caitlyn, but by going Blitzkrieg. They're like, you know what? You want to build that Ardent Sensor? Well, that's great. You don't have much power till then. Hook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was not the... I mean, admittedly, the game I saw from this group... Well, one of the games I saw from this group was Misfits losing late game to TSM.
Right.
But Misfits looked so damn good.
They did.
At
TSM
the
squeaked it
beginning
out.
of that game.
Yeah. That
Like-
was the best TSM looked, and they didn't even look good in that game. They just pulled it out.
No, yeah, they scaled.
Yeah.
That's really all there was to it.
So I'm excited for Misfits. I mean, from Challenger to quarterfinals. It's ridiculous.
Yep. No, I'm pretty excited that they did as well as they did.
Yeah. I'm super happy for them. And that meant Europe got 2 teams out of groups.
Well, and then we
EU
got
better than NA, because at this point, NA was 0-2, so they can't beat them.
and we got WE. WE was like probably my favorite upset.
Yeah.
For as much as they screwed my bracket, we've cheered them on since week 1. So
Yep.
it's good to see a team that we cheered on initially, even though screwing up our brackets along the way, they did make it through.
Yeah. Would have been cooler if it was Fenerbahce. Alright, so I think that kind of rounds it up for D. Group A just finished up this morning, last night. We had, going into it, SKT at 3-0, Cloud9 at 2-1, AHQ 1-2, and EDG 0-3. And those hometown heroes, EDG, tried. They tried to show up and be Fnatic 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
They looked so good in their first 2 games. They looked really good in their third game, too, against SKT. But they couldn't quite get it done. And me, as a Cloud9 fan, I was fucking sweating it, man. I so to set anybody who didn't watch it through, you had Cloud9 lose their first game to SKT.
One more thing
Yep.
before we get into our last group. We're on the Sawtooth Ale now.
Good stuff.
Half of us are halfway through our Sawtooth Ale.
There's 3 of us.
Look at this scale we got going. Oh, wait, there we go.
I'm a little bit more than half, or a little bit less than halfway.
It's boop, boop, boop. Little stair step. But yeah, so Cloud9, they lose to SKT to start. And they just didn't have a good enough early game. Then they lose to EDG, and EDG really power played them early. And Cloud9 tried to stay in it, they just couldn't. And then they played AHQ, and as Sneaky said afterwards, he's like, I mean, we saw some of the Chinese teams, or some of the other teams, but it was, I think RNG and WE were the only teams pulled out. He's like, we saw them play Caitlyn, and we're like, alright, let's give it a shot. And they went the fuck off. They did. Like, I mean, Caitlyn's been a popular pick for so long, and very recently, until her nerfs. But it's not like you need to practice the Caitlyn. It's like, okay,
Sure.
I know how to play Caitlyn.
You got the muscle memory working.
And
in
honestly,
your favor.
Sneaky has been one of the most consistent AD carries this whole Worlds. Playing, he was good in like every game. He was good in every game last week, basically. He was good in every game this week. Like, he never played poorly. Because I was watching these games, I'm like, Sneaky's trying to keep him in it. Like, over and over, Sneaky was the one not losing. Like, even, it was him in Impact, usually. But yeah, so they played the Caitlyn, and they rolled hard early game. I think this Caitlyn's either going to start being a ban, because that's the reason...
Well, we did see a couple Caitlyn bans there towards the end.
Right, yeah. I think... So the reason we've seen Kalista banned every single match from Red Side is because she's an early lane bully. She's the counter to
we
these
saw her
scaling
get
supports.
through once, and that
Did she
was
get through once?
not this part, but it
Play-ins.
was either during
Yeah.
the play-ins.
Yeah,
we saw,
she's been 100%.
We saw her once.
She's been 100% first round Red Side ban for all of group stage.
Yep.
Because that's what she does, what Caitlyn does, but better right now. Like,
Well, because she's so mobile as well, so
yeah, she's mobile. She puts out a lot of damage early, so she plays a kill lane in the starting, and so that's what teams are. They're like, well, we're going scaling and we're going Ardent Sensor, And she doesn't really benefit from Ardent Sensor that much, so her, she's able to build, her support's able to build more, aggression early.
Sure.
So, yeah, Ardent Sensor would still benefit her some. But yeah, it's so that's what we're seeing. And so now you're going to have to ban Caitlyn and Callista, or you're going to start letting them both through, so that if they pick the Kate, you get the Callista, vice versa. I think it's going to open up the bot lane meta a bit more, which will be neat. But yeah, so Cloud9 did that, they won it, and so then we headed into the last game of the day with EDG versus SKT. If SKT wins, and they had lost earlier in the day to AHQ, or no, they lost to AHQ.
So we've got the reason why Kate's ban is so popular is because all she needs is the Infinity Edge.
Oh yeah,
Jan
absolutely.
To get the Ardent.
Yeah. No, and that's her thing, because she's already got plenty of early game damage, so if you get the Ardent Sensor on her, which is the way that she's being played, with a Janna, is that you get that extra attack speed and the heal, so her lane bully becomes stupid, and especially if she gets to that IE right away, like Crazy's saying, is that she's just dumb.
Sure.
She becomes a stupid lane bully, and since you're already building a late game champion, you're playing a late game champion, you're playing Kog'Maw, you're playing Xayah and Tristana can play the early game somewhat too, but if you're playing Kog and Twitch, you have nothing to go against them with. Especially if she's bullying you early so you don't get to the Ardent as soon as they do. If they get that Ardent first and they have Caitlyn, they're gonna get turret. They're possibly gonna get kills, especially if they bring down ganks from the jungler and mid. So she gets out really early. And the thing is, she has that mid-game lull. That's usually the issue. Mid-game lull, especially against somebody like a Tristana or a Kog'Maw, especially these with the Ardent Sensor on Kog'Maw, Twitch, Tristana,
Sure.
Tristana, Xayah. But with Caitlyn, if you get that early game lead, it's here's her mid-game lull. Too bad she's ahead by an item and a half.
And there's no mid-game lull because it's just she keeps rolling into it.
Yeah, her mid-game lull is going on while you're still in early game, so nobody gives a shit. You hit mid-game where she should be in a lull, and she's like, I have my third item, who cares?
Yep.
And yeah, she's just rolling over these people. So it's going to be interesting to see if she starts becoming a ban, just a guaranteed ban with Callista, or we're going to start seeing that open up. I wouldn't think we're going to see somebody like Jhin come in as well. He's somebody else who can kind of bully in the early game. It's probably going to be contained to those two, but we might also see champions like Jinx come back, because Jinx is someone who can play into the Caitlyn as well.
Didn't we see one Jinx?
Saw one in the plans, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting dynamic that we have going, but so that style that Cloud9 saw and just said, okay, let's go for it, got them to the point where SKT, EDG, and it was a damn close game. EDG was ahead most of it.
EDG was ahead up until they lost it.
To quote Skara, they were winning until they lost.
And that's exactly how it was. It was they were up 8 kills, and they had objectives, and just everything was going in their favor, and it looked like they were going to take down SKT.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
EDG...
They kind of towards the middle of the game, they just started running around like they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a clear path in front of them. They were we're going to be over here, then we're going to be over here. We're going to ignore objectives, and then it was...
And what really, really got them was they took that fight mid, where they decided to fight mid.
To be fair, that works out even better for Cloud9, though, because we did not want...
No, I know. I'm talking about the game. That, I found myself... I was rooting for SKT, which felt so dirty. But yeah, no, so when it comes down to it, though, there's that fight mid starts, because SKT kind of went for the engage on the Trundle. The Trundle went to engage, and EDG should have just disengaged, which they could have. But they decide, okay, we're going to take this fight, because they had come out from the inhib turret. So Maokai goes in, and they try to bring the LeBlanc in on the flank. And she gets part the way in, Janna ult hits. She has to zone Yaz, because she's already at half health because she got hit. The LeBlanc, of course. And then they blow her up as she comes out, and they take the fight. And all this happens when they start that fight. Baron spawns in 30 seconds.
Yep.
So they lose the fight, they lose Baron, And at that point, like, SKT's able to pick up some of those straggling towers. All of a sudden, they go from this goal lead. They've been so far behind.
It was a 30-minute mark before SKT turned it around.
Yeah.
They were losing the game the first 30 minutes of the game.
Yep, absolutely.
That's basically the whole game. The game ended at 38 minutes.
Yeah, when that fight at mid started, they were still down either 4 or 6K. And by the end of their Baron buff, they were even. And they had the late game comp. So at that point, the game was basically over, especially because you're playing SKT. They're not going to make a mistake, and they didn't. And, I mean, speaking of not making mistakes, they made Cloud9 look absolutely silly at the end of the game they played them. When they were taking control of objectives, they're on Elder, the Jace is so far ahead, and he's split pushing, and then you see Impact TP into the Drake pit for the fight, and Jace, who's just standing outside the inhib, is like, oh, I'm going to TP on this minion on the turret.
Our back door with nothing happening.
He just walked in and took the bait. It was... I saw it happen, I was just like, oh man, you gotta feel bad when that happens. But no, so this all happens. EDG's not able to pull out the 3-0, which means Cloud9 makes it through. They back in a little bit. They didn't have to play the tiebreaker. They earned getting in through their 2-1 last week. But I think if you say the best EDG looked and the best Cloud9 looked, EDG looked better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Cloud9 definitely got by on the hair of their teeth. Like,
yeah.
They very, very, like... it's so crazy how much they don't deserve to be where they are right now.
They earned it by playing consistently. I think
they earned it by the other teams losing when they needed them to lose,
and them winning when they needed to win somewhat. Like, yes, they need
they can only control half of that,
right?
Like,
and they controlled about half of their half,
yes.
and the other teams controlled about half of the other half for them. It worked out. But no, when it comes down to it, I think Cloud9 is a team that can play more aggressive early. They did it in the play-ins, and they saw how much early aggression is paying off in the group stage. I expect them to come out with early aggression going forward. Probably
to
not
be
the
fair,
Graves
like
anymore,
going forward, we've got best of fives, and that's going to make a huge difference. Like, you're going to be able to cycle through. You're going to have a little bit more time to change things from game to game. Like, I mean, if you lose the first game, it's not tragic. If you lose the second game too, then things are going to be...
You get that reverse sweep's a bit tough.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're going to do well, you're going to do it well in your first game or maybe your second game, and then you just have to secure it. So, I mean... I mean, the pressure gets to you at this point. You're going to get the 2 wins up, and then you're going to have to, like, fight your heart out to get that last one.
Right, yeah. I mean, so, end of the day with this group, you've got HQ, who made a decent showing. Definitely better showing than Flash Wolves, who was the 1 seed out
They
of the
did
region.
what we needed them to do.
But
they
right.
lost all of their games, except somehow beat SKT.
Just speaking for AHQ, no, they won 2. They beat SKT this week, and they beat EDG
I mean
last
this
week.
week.
Yes.
They did what we needed them to
But
do
anyway,
this week.
overall, I think they looked good overall. Like, as a team, they looked much better than the LMS 1 seed, which was Flash Wolves. So, good on AHQ, because they've always showed up to Worlds and been huge second fiddle to Flash Wolves.
If they would have been in a different group, I might have cheered them on a little bit more.
Right. Cloud9 barely made it. EDG, if they would have shown up in week 1 how they did week 2, I think they easily would have made it out of groups. Cloud9's just okay right now. They've definitely got some improvement to do. And SKT, they've done it before at Worlds, where they've not looked great in the groups and then just gone on and been like, oh yeah, we know how to win these things, and then do. But they looked beatable in Korea. They only took the 2nd seed. They looked beatable in groups. I don't know that I have confidence there. I don't know that they're going to make it to the final. I'm personally betting against them making it to the final.
I'm
right now.
not betting against them to get to the final, but I think that Longju might take this, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my particular...
Well, we'll get to the bracket a bit later.
Now,
We're getting close.
That just sounds so eerily similar to what you were saying about Fnatic earlier.
Yeah. Well, okay, but the thing is, when you look at the teams who took first seed out of the groups, you've got SKT, Longju, RNG, and WE. RNG and Longju both looked really good. WE looked pretty good. SKT looked pretty good.
Deal.
I think there's definitely a difference between those 2 1 seeds and the other 2 1 seeds. And I'm putting SKT soundly with WE right now. I think they're better than WE, which, I mean, it doesn't matter because they don't face each other, you know. But it's just... I'm not confident in them to be the SKT that they've been. I mean, Faker is still Faker, but they also have Huni in the top who can go off or go full Huni and throw the game.
It's funny that Faker is Faker, but most of the games that SKT's won has not been Faker helming that win.
Right,
Like,
he shows up late and gets them back into it a lot of the time, though.
You're not wrong. Like, I mean,
Like,
it's
the Orianna play in that mid-fight against EDG was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, that was the very last game, and
Right.
yeah. But I mean, throughout most of their matches, like Faker was not the one that was making the biggest plays. Like,
But
it
he
was
never
happened-
played poorly.
You're right. He didn't play. He got shut down a couple times early in one of those games.
Yeah, and he was 0-4 in the other game against EDG where they were way behind, and then he still showed up.
Yeah,
That fight happens, and he was playing another Orianna. They get the Rakan thing, and he just goes, okay, shockwave, dissonance
Yeah.
move, and everybody dies.
But I mean, SKT's wins were coming out of their top lane and their bot lane. Like, none of them came from the mid lane. Not that I'm going to say that Faker's bad.
I'll say just at quarterfinals, I think they might play a little more through him. Just it'll be him or Huni, depending on how it's going.
Well, Huni's been doing so well up top, so
He
I mean,
has.
it's
But that usually doesn't last with Huni.
okay. Well, then we'll
Huni, his highs are great and really good. That's why they brought him. They have 2 top laners, and you can only bring 1 sub, though. They brought their jungle sub, which I was a little surprised because Huni didn't play as much this year for them. And, yeah, like, they're like, no, we want Huni. His high highs are worthwhile. And I've seen him crash and
Speaking
burn.
of subs, AHQ they subbed out one of their people like after
Yeah.
they won against SKT. I was like, why would you sit him? He did well. What's his name? Chawi.
Chawi and Westdoor. It's their mids.
Yeah, and
And-
so they took out Westdoor, and
And
I was a
think
little
that,
bit surprised
Oh
considering I
yeah,
haven't.
his fizz was. I mean, admittedly, that game, the Sejuani, was also a force of nature. But yeah, Westdoor did exactly what he was supposed to every single second.
Like
of
I
that
felt
game.
a little bit
Chawi,
bad that they
yeah.
pulled him out because
This has happened before with AHQ. It's generally why they haven't been able to make it through Worlds partly. Like last year, they did this too. They had Chawi and Westdoor. Or maybe that was MSI. God, it just all melts together now. But one of the things I have to say, I think the decision was made because they thought that they needed to play a better mid and late game against Cloud9 than early game. And then Cloud9 came at them with the early game. So I think that might have played into it.
Well,
but yeah,
yeah.
no, I fully agree they should have not made the sub. I feel a little bad for them. Can't feel too bad. I'm a Cloud9 fan, so I'm going to take it any way I can get it.
No, I agree, but I figured, like, he played so well in that game against SKT.
He did.
And took the win. And then they sat him. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, you got to feel a little rough for him.
That seems like a little bit of a misplay on AHQ's team. Or
A little bit.
Their part.
I got to say, though, out of all the teams who ended up 4th in their group, AHQ was the best. You go
well, they
AHQ...
technically ended 3rd. It was a dual tie for 3rd place.
I think EDG ended up with the game lead. EDG did, because otherwise my pick'em, I wouldn't have gotten all the points. I got 16 in the pick'em.
Did that basically just come down to the length of the match?
Length of wins, yeah.
They tied for 3rd place.
They did give it 3rd both. Okay, I thought they still went to game tie. Maybe not. Okay, either way.
I know my stats.
so-
I've been studying the board, man.
Even if you say EDG was 4th, it doesn't matter. Both those teams
You're right.
were better than Immortals, better than Fenerbahce, and better than Flash Wolves. By a wide margin, I think. Immortals is the only one who could even maybe pull a game off one of those two, and I think Immortals didn't show up well enough for that. So Group A ended up being the deepest group by far. Once
it
EDG
was
got
the
crap
biggest
together.
surprise. Like, I mean,
I was impressed by HQ. I did not expect them to show up the way they did.
sure.
So, I mean, yeah, that's all the groups. What did we all have for Group A here? We had SKT, EDG, Cloud9, AHQ. SKT, Cloud9... Oh, we both had SKT, Cloud9, EDG, AHQ. So you and I nailed it.
Boop.
No faith. No faith. But he did get Fnatic, so...
Fanatic.
So I think that's worth more points. Okay, so we made it through all of that. Just before we get into who draw who for the quarterfinals, any big takeaways from what happened. I mean, my big one's seeing the Caitlyn and the Trundle and a little bit of the Blitzcrank come in, and seeing that the meta might be heading more towards early game aggression, because we're seeing early game aggression pay off big.
Well, I think it's because the other team is typically still like they're picking their summon or their heroes based on like that late game and
Ardent Sensor late game meta. Yeah.
And so they're picking as if it's going to go long, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And they're just not there in the middle of the game when the other team is so far down their throats. So
Yeah.
Like, oh, so it took the better part of a year to develop this meta. It'd be a shame if someone shat on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting if any of these teams who are pretty good are able to adopt more of a Gigabytes early aggression style, because that could be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think about a team like Gigabytes.
2 Gigabyte Marines, the real heroes.
But-
5-minute nocturnes.
5-minute nocturnal. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, think about a team like Gigabyte. If their other lanes were as good as their jungler, like just raw skill wise, that'd be a scary fucking team. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. That was my biggest takeaway. Really, I don't know. I mean, China's looking pretty good. The two who made it through. Oh, actually, there's one other thing. I don't know if you guys noticed this. The 3 major regions who had who's had the play-ins, because there's 4 major, one being Korea, but they didn't have a play-in team. WE, Fnatic, Cloud9. All 3 made it out of groups.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 same regions, their number 1 seed. TSM, EDG, and G2.
got taken out.
None of them made it out of groups.
Interesting.
I mean, just an odd thing. Like, obviously, the play-in one's more of a thing to, like, take something from. That, like, those teams, maybe the warm-up for them helped, and that the major regions are still important, even if you're the number
Sure.
3 seed.
like you can sit there and scrim all day long, but it still doesn't have like the pressure as if you were in a real match.
Being
So,
on stage with your
Yeah.
life on the line,
have
absolutely.
those people yelling, like, and you're not knowing why they're yelling. Like, why are they cheering? Like, nothing's happening that's good for me right now.
To be fair, so I don't know if you know this. The way the stream's done, that way, like, home team advantage doesn't help so much. So, like, 'cause Chinese fans, so they could be like yelling as the Baron's starting to be snuck by SKT or something, and so EDG knows to fucking run there quick. During the match, during the majority of the match, what's being seen on screen by the
It's
audience
probably
and
like
us
30
at home,
seconds.
somewhere from like 10 to 20 seconds delay.
Okay.
And then as like replays happen, they slowly start cutting that out at the end of the game. So like right at the end of the game, you're live. So like, oh, when the Nexus is going down, that's all live. But yeah, for most of the game, everybody's watching on a delay. That way, the crowd can't affect the players so much.
Sure.
Because soundproof booths, like they use that in Korea and the LCK.
Well, they don't even, they're not using it
Right,
here, though.
they
They're
use it
just
in
sitting
LCK.
on stage, yeah.
I don't know if they use it in the LPL in China. But yeah, they just put them on stage because it's so much better to be able to like just see the people and for lighting wise and all that. But
Sure.
yeah, so there is a slight delay. The whole they're yelling. Yeah, I know why they fucking yell. They took the fucking Baron like without us having vision 20 seconds ago. Everybody shut up. But no, yeah, I think when it comes down to it, though, we're seeing a lot of early aggression, which is really cool. We're seeing those teams make it out of play-ins, which was great. Fenerbahce, not so much. And
Rough
we're
go
seeing,
there, Turkey.
and we're seeing. I mean, every single one seed besides Longzhu failed to make it. All four of the other ones, Flash Wolves, TSM, G2, EDG, all didn't make it. And EDG was really close. G2 was kind of close. Flash Wolves was nowhere near it. TSM had to win a fucking thing that they had no business winning, but and they didn't. They screwed that pooch right there. But so heading into matchups then, RNG versus Fnatic. What you think of you boys?
RNG
Your boy's
versus
Fnatic.
I've got Fnatic. I've got Fnatic winning this one.
Fnatic, which is momentum, or why are you thinking Fnatic?
I think that they literally just pulled the 4-1 out of their asses. I think they can do it again.
3-1. They pulled a 4-0.
This part'll be easy.
Okay, yeah, that.
RNG looked really good though.
They did. They looked really good. And this is a hard choice. Like, this is my bracket locked in. Like, this is where I'm
You locked
going.
in, not changing it, huh?
Yeah, no.
Did you see? I sent you a message on Facebook so you can do this, and then we can all
Like,
have each
yes.
other's. Okay.
I've got Fnatic. Like, I did not respect them last pick, and I'm not
I
going
didn't
to make
either.
that.
I respected them more than you. You put them in fourth. I put them
I
in
did
third.
put them in fourth, and it's not where I wanted them to be. That's just where I thought they were going to be. Like, so.
After week 1, I thought you were totally right.
Me too.
What the fuck happened? You boys are superhero,
No.
man.
This is because I didn't watch all the games. I can't really make an informed decision about which one I think is going to win.
So you're going with your heart.
I'm going with-
So I'm going to say RNG because I already used all my good karma to get Fnatic through last stage.
He's doing the Chinese thing where it's like, if I say they're not gonna win, they might.
Well, he's the one that had
win.
them winning last week. I'm the one that didn't have them winning.
I know.
So are we gonna have to switch?
No,
these?
you can't overhype them though. You gotta. Okay, nope, that's too much.
Don't do well. Wink.
By the skin of your teeth.
But yeah, I don't know. I think if early and Royal showed good early aggression too, so that's why I'm worried. But if the early aggression meta picks up more, I think Fnatic might have a chance. But overall, Uzi is going off, and that's the matchup here though. Actually, Uzi and Reckless. Uzi and Reckless are two of the biggest name AD carries left. They're probably the two biggest name. Yeah, they're the two biggest name AD carries left in this whole fucking tournament, basically.
Yep.
And it's going to be awesome to watch that. I'm a little disappointed Fnatic's not playing a non-Chinese team, because Fnatic, and especially Reckless, are loved in China. But they're not going to be rooted for the
Did you see the
same way.
interview from one of the Chinese casters?
Yes, where she's like, he's so handsome.
Yeah. She admitted on her interview that
She's got a boyfriend.
It doesn't matter.
She said that too.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
catch that part,
oh,
but
yeah.
I saw the part where she's like, I think he's really handsome.
Dude, yeah, no, the Chinese fans, they love Reckless. Like, basically, obviously there's Chinese teams. They love TSM, who's no longer in it, and they love Reckless. They also enjoy Cloud9 because Cloud9 are the meme team. Like, just all the goofy shit they do, everybody, like, internationally, they're pretty well enjoyed. But yeah, but no, when it comes down to it, the matchup's going to be Reckless versus Uzi Bot. I think the top lane's going to be fun too, but that's going to be the matchup to watch, is bot lane. So we'll see how it goes. I think Uzi's been really consistent. He is a world class AD carry.
You say what you need to. Fnatic needs a new skin.
They need another set. Yeah.
They need a current team set.
They need another Fnatic Janus.
So I don't know if you've noticed in the broadcast, it's never it's like mentioned that Fnatic's made to a lot of worlds, but Fnatic's done this. They never mentioned Fnatic has won worlds, because generally speaking, people don't count season 1. When it comes to like the worlds competition, season 1 doesn't count because it was very different.
Sure.
Fnatic, the reason they won season 1 worlds is because Europe are the ones who innovated the meta that exists. Top lane being what it is, mid lane mage, bot lane AD carry support with a jungler. That exists because of Europe and teams like Fnatic, actually. Because they're like,
and
well,
obviously, like that Fnatic is not the same as this Fnatic.
no, not a single player is the same.
But I mean, that happened 6 years in a pro sport like this. So.
Right, absolutely. I mean, Soaz came into Fnatic the next year.
Okay.
The player from that original team who lasted the longest was Yellowstar. He was their AD carry at the time. He played support for them a long time, and then he was also I believe he was part of their staff. But he's been gone for a while. We're gonna have to make our predictions though. So let's see, Zane, myself, Chase, and we're gonna do like 3-1-1-2. We'll get to that in a moment when Chase makes it back. But yeah, so Zane, you're going with Royal for what reason?
I'm going with Royal. Royal has been more consistent. I mean, beside the fact...
It's not hard to agree with. I feel like me saying, I agree.
Yeah.
Really? One team went 0-3 the week 1. Surprise.
Wow, that's... Yeah, it was
I'm
really
going out on a limb agreeing with you.
bold thing for me to say, wasn't it?
Well, bold for me to agree with you. You were just stating the fact.
That's... Yeah. I mean, RNG... That's really the main point I have.
No,
Fnatic,
I think you're right.
they're not stable. They're not consistent. I really, as happy as I am that they did as miraculously well second week,
Right.
I don't think it's a sustainable business model. I think RNG just earned it.
Just earned it.
I think they just earned it.
Yeah.
So, I
So-
mean, beside that, and I do truly think in some way that I used all my good karma to get Fnatic here.
Got that sports mentality going in. So, for your prediction then, what's this series going to be?
Oh, for all four.
No, for RNG Fnatic. How many
RNG
games?
Fnatic. Oh, okay. We're gonna go 3-1 RNG.
3-1. All right.
We're gonna go 3-1 RNG.
So, Chase, you got the Fnatic faith.
We're gonna go 3-1 Fnatic.
3-1 Fnatic. So, 1-3. Honestly,
Last time that I did not give the team the props, and I gave them a 3-2, they went 3-0. So I'm gonna go happy median, where it's gonna be 3-1. I think that RNG is gonna give them a hard time, but I think Fnatic's gonna show it through.
I'm in a hard spot here because I absolutely think RNG is going to win. I want to say 3-1 because I feel like Fnatic might be able to get like an early.
You
aggression.
better give us a 3-2 just to give respect.
I'm not going to give you the 3-1. All right, I'm going 3-0 RNG.
Oh damn, that's heartless.
It really is.
You read me the wrong way, my friend.
You got to give them the 3-2 because you give them heart. They're like.
They are not the Planeteers. There's no monkey that I can talk to because I have a special ring. No heart is necessary.
Well, if there was, you might not be here because you'd be in a padded room somewhere.
Or I'd be talking to my monkey.
Or that.
Alright, so next matchup, SKT versus Misfits.
I've got my reservations on my actual choice. Like, Misfits played so well. Like,
They played so unconventionally.
every game that they...
Unconventionally to this world's meta.
Right.
Every game that they played well, and even the games that they lost, they played well. Like, I can't say anything bad about Misfits, but I think that SKT has either experience or tricks up their sleeve. They're going to pull something out.
They absolutely have
And
experience.
They're going to... they have experience at Worlds, obviously, but they've just got
What
that.
region is Misfits from?
Europe.
Nice.
They're the number 2 seed coming out of EU.
But, yeah, I don't know. SKT is totally going to win. But
Totally.
How glorious would
I
that
still
upset be, though?
I still think that SKT is sandbagging. Like, I think that Faker is pretending to play shitty. Because I think he's going to, like, go crazy in these next games.
So what you got?
I've got SKT 3-1.
3-1 SKT, alright.
I mean, SKT did lose to AHQ, and I don't know if that was a show or if that was to...
It was a show. It was called LOL Worlds 2017.
Like, I don't know if they lost to AHQ intentionally, because it's possible that they wanted everyone else to think that they're not as good as what they really are.
You got them playing some 4D chess over there. Number 2 seed in Korea. Holy shit. Hey guys, let's lose this match. Why would we lose this match? Because we're fucking gonna get first anyway. But why would we lose this match? Shh. So get this. Get this. Faker takes another hit off the fucking blunt, passes it, and they go, hey, if we lose, people can be like, they're beatable. Well, yeah, but like, if we lose to a 1 seed, this no. We lose to fucking AHQ. And like,
This is the best
Dude!
fucking conspiracy I've ever
and
heard.
then Hyde comes in and goes, but it's a car that runs on water, man.
I think that that's what's happening. Like, I don't want to directly quote you, but I think that that's how it happened.
All right, so Chase has them going 3-1 and full Voltron against Misfits. What you got? You use your account, man. These are your boys.
I love EU.
I love you.
It's because you hate everything American.
Misfits went 2-1 the first week, and
No.
almost went 3-0 because they did almost beat TSM.
This is, I mean, I'm gonna say SKT.
No, they did beat TSM. They
Yeah.
lost to WE pretty handily.
I'm gonna say SK Telecom's gonna win. I just want to put that out there. It's hard for me to say by what margin though, because the only Misfits game I've seen was them losing to TSM.
It's too bad it's hard for you to say because you still have to.
I'm gonna say it's a sweep for SKT.
Sweep for
Jeez.
SKT. So
Sweep for
you just think they're that much better, or what's going on here?
I just think
At least a third of the people on the couch are not giving Misfits the respect they deserve.
I.
You gave them a 3-1. Don't fucking talk about respect.
Oh yes, Mother Teresa here. No, I just think.
Give him a game. Give him a pity game. I respect him.
I mean,
Pour out
SK.
one for my homies.
Go get more weed conspiracies.
I think we'll see. I think a lot of Misfits' strength can be counteracted by SKT, honestly, during the draft.
Alright.
I think SKT can just play it smart off the draft alone, kind of shut down some of Misfits' shenanigans before it even begins, and give themselves the tools they need to shut down whatever shenanigans they may have.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about the draft so much that SKT might be able to win out. Because what I'm looking at is SKT has shown during the group stage their early game is not good. And unless they're 4D chess throwing every early game, all 6 games, I don't know.
They're somehow making craziness happen. They made that
The
EDG
mid-game.
game where they were practically deleted off the board.
because
For the first
EDG
30
stacked
minutes.
up 4 people near the Fog of War against a Rakan Oriana. They made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And the big thing here is EDG in week 1 had no idea how to close out a lead.
Who's the shot caller for SKT?
I think it comes from Wolf, their support.
Okay. I can imagine that going on. Hey guys,
Let's head up mid.
how about we win now?
And then
That's always that's what they said. But EDG's second game, like all the stuff online was like, iBoy, the AD carry for EDG, was just crushing people, and then something happened in the mid lane, and he flashed the flare, and so like the jokes online are like that SKT was like, oh, you paid us, so we're gonna let you win, but we want to make it look good, so it's slow, and then flare happened, they're like, you didn't pay for flare. They're like, fine, we're rescinding our payment. Okay, then, and then SKT wins.
I still like the form Voltron. Like, because that's basically what happens. It's
No,
like,
their late game team fights are amazing. You're right.
it's like, yeah, it's been like, we get shit on, we get shit on, we get shit on, we get shit on. We pull miracles out of our asses.
Yeah.
And they did that very consistently. Except somehow against AHQ. They just like, they were so far behind.
HQ knew how to close an early. See, so that's where I am. HQ got the early game lead, and they closed it hard and fast. Because when they closed it, they're in the top lane. Even the casters were like, okay, they're going to back this out. And they're like, oh, no, they're going for it. They're going to end
Never
now.
mind. They've got all the pieces together. They're good to go.
Yeah, they went Voltron just at 25 minutes instead of 40. But yeah, like, HQ know how to close it out. I don't feel like Cloud9 were playing early enough game like comps. But we saw at Misfits, they know how to close an early game out. They know how to go really aggressive and not be like, okay, we're ahead, we're going to win the mid game. They're like, no, let's fucking go. We're ahead, let's go. So, I'm calling a 3-2. Straight up, I'm calling a 3-2 on this, and I'm not sure which way to go. Because the pick ban is what got me. I was going to say a 3-2 Misfits. And it's like, well, shit. If SKT, goes ahead and says, okay, we're going to get rid of Caitlyn. We're going to get rid of the... Because Misfits will pick up Caitlyn in the next week.
Sure.
No doubt. We're going to get rid of Caitlyn. We're going to get rid of Kalista. We're going to get rid of Blitzcrank. First round. What does Misfits have other early game comps in the tank? Like, I don't think Crazy's here anymore, but he had mentioned, like, with Jinx, she doesn't have escapes. But, I mean, the thing is against... she's more of a counter to the Caitlyn, so the escapes don't matter so much unless, like, there's a Rakan on her side.
Sure.
But, yeah, I don't know.
And then yeah,
Fuck.
if you ban too many 80 carries, then you've got the opportunities in the other lanes to pick it up. And
Right. Yeah. The band thing, though, I think that's a good point. And so, because of that, I'm going to go 3-2 SKT. But I think this is going to be a lot closer than expected because I don't think SKT... Granted, coming off group stages, they always seem to, figure out their weaknesses and cover them up pretty well. And, that's why they've won 3 championships, the last 2 of them in a row. I believe it was 2 in a row. I want to say it was them, then Samsung White, then them. But I don't know. I don't think they are the team they used to be quite. I think talent's getting a little more spread out, and I think their weakness in the early game and a meta that we're seeing develop where everybody thought it was late game Ardent Sensor, and now it's well, actually, early aggression can blow the doors off it, and I don't know that SKT is going to be able to adjust that fast. Because it's not that their early game's weak. Their early game is terrible. They've gotten blown wide open in the early game several times, and if a team knows how to close it,
unless
I think it's going to end well.
They're intentionally having that happen.
Jesus Christ, did you take a drop of acid before we started this?
I could have, but I didn't know.
Alright, moving on from from that matchup to WE versus Cloud9. My first comment, Cloud9 got the best draw they possibly could have. Because I see SKT and WE being the weakest too.
Yo.
I think SKT's a little better. Also, they couldn't be matched up against SKT anyway because you're not allowed to draw even on the same side as your group. So thank God for Cloud9 that WE ended up on the opposite side of SKT. This one, I think, is the most viable upset. Personally, I think Cloud9 can really... if they get that early game together, WE played it too. I think they're very even teams for the most part.
This is probably my saddest matchup because WE has been the upset the whole way.
They've been your underdog that you've been on, yeah.
But they didn't have my vote of confidence in the groups. I voted them out. I thought they were gone.
Well, fuck you. They don't love you anymore.
They don't deserve to love me, but...
You don't deserve their love, you mean?
Yes. I've been cheering them on because they've been such, the underdog team. I want them to keep going, but I also want Cloud9 to stop them right now.
I want Cloud9 so bad.
And so, I think it's gonna be a 3-1 in Cloud9's favor.
3-1 in Cloud9. Alright. I was gonna go ahead and make my prediction first, but you jumped on that one. I don't know what my prediction... That's the thing. Hey, Tub. I think Cloud9's gonna make enough adjustments to get it done.
You think they're gonna close it out? Or do you think...
I think they'll get it done. I think they're gonna get their 3 wins.
I think they're gonna get their 3 wins, too.
I'm just...
How many do you think they're gonna lose before they get there?
No, that's the question I'm struggling with. I know I want to pick Cloud9 because I think Cloud9 saw in AHQ what they can play.
I wouldn't be surprised if WE won here. If WE won, I'd be like...
I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, they're supposed to win. They're the 1 seed. If you're surprised that the 1 seed wins, then something's fucking wrong.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they came from the play-ins. It's not really
So did Cloud9. We have 2 play-in teams facing each other in the quarterfinal. A play-in team is going to make it to the semis.
Which is relevant to my choice. I'm going to agree with Chase here.
3-1?
3-1 Cloud9.
Oh, shit.
I just... In play-ins, where we saw both of them initially... I just thought WE looked a little rigid, and, WE did prove me wrong. They can kind of break the mold. They can play the early game non-meta Caitlyn. I think Cloud9 can do that unconventional meta-breaking stuff better. I just think...
It's because WE's got that chess-like approach, like you said,
Exactly.
all those weeks ago. They're playing a very slow game of chess, and they're making things happen, and they're winning games, and they're doing everything right. But when you throw them curveballs, they did lose 1 game, and they got trounced. And
They did.
And so it's possible that Cloud9 could try to reenact that and potentially throw WE out of their element or something.
Right.
I'm not going to be surprised if WE wins, but I think that Cloud9 will take it. I think they've got it's a best of 5. That's the one thing that's different from everything else prior to here.
Yeah.
Is that
I think that Cloud9 lane to lane, if you look across the team, They have shown the
We're doing well, Tub. Sorry. We are very into our discussions.
I think across the lanes in general, that Cloud9 has shown the ability to carry from everywhere. We've seen Impact carry. I mean, including the play-ins. We've seen Impact carry, we've seen Contracts carry, we've seen Jensen carry, and we've definitely seen Sneaky carry.
They're strong in all 3 lanes, just not always
4,
at
including jungle.
They're strong in all 4 lanes, just not always at the same time.
Well, right. It's hard to be all 4, like, win everything. Like, that happened against the AHQ, but...
But I mean,
no, but
they,
like
but
the
they
fact
did
that they've
lose.
shown they can win from everywhere on the map, I feel makes them scarier than WE. Because WE, I haven't seen games where like you're worried about all their lanes. It's just like, okay, that lane got ahead, or we're making terrible mistakes because we're TSM and we give everyone Janna. Like that's what seems to happen, and I think WE also benefited from being in a group where the top teams who should have done the best, TSM and Flash Wolves, did not do well at all.
Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves generally show up well. Like, do they make it out of groups? No, but they went 1-5. That is not what they should have done.
They really didn't make it out of groups. Like,
no, they were 4th. They won a game against a TSM who looked like garbage in week 2.
ugh.
So, I mean, seriously, though, I think WE benefited from the group. That was the most wide-open group. Cloud9 took second into EDG, granted, partly because they sucked ass week 1. They couldn't get together. And SKT. I mean, EDG looked better than SKT week 2, I think, overall.
Sure.
But, yeah, like, looking at that, Cloud9 coming out 3-3, I feel like is at least as impressive as the 5-1. I think if they can adopt that early aggression meta and have some deep picks, we're going to see some great stuff.
Thanks, Tub.
I saw you saw the host. Yeah, good.
Appreciate it.
No, I think we're definitely going to see them come out. We're going to see them play well. And if we see Caitlyn bans and Kalista bans and WE's like, oh, we're going to pick some other early aggression, I think we see, like if they pick Ashe or something kind of a bit off, I bet we see Jhin out of Sneaky. Sneaky was the first pro player, regardless of region, internationally, to pick up the Jhin and play it really well, and he has consistently been the best Jhin player. Jhin has fallen off due to a little bit of nerfs, a little bit of other things just being buffed and better, and Ardent Sensor and stuff. He doesn't benefit from the attack speed because of his counts, like crit and all that's with him. So that would allow also Cloud9 to play an aggressive support like an Alistar or something, which Smoothie's really good with aggressive supports, and you play the Jhin. So if we see WE draft a non-Ardent Sensor late game like player and it's not Caitlyn, I bet we see the Jhin out of Sneaky. I think it's going to be closer than 1-3 though. I'm going to go 2-3. Cloud9 takes it. I'm going to call that one as close too. I don't want to jinx my boys, but be like, oh yeah, they're going to fucking roll them. But we all have Cloud9.
If you're listening, I have not tried to hide my disdain for Cloud9. But if you beat WE with Jhin, I will be so happy.
Yes. There was
I fucking love Jhin.
there
We'll
was
get Curtis to make you brownies, and we'll ship them wherever you want.
We'll send them to wherever Wuhan.
They're in Wuhan
They were in
right now.
Wuhan. That
But
was group stage.
they're
They moved.
moving,
They're in a
yeah.
different province now, but they're in China. Yeah. I don't know that China will let my brownies through customs. I would like to point out. Did we?
They
I
would
don't
be
know if we
coming from
mentioned it.
Colorado.
I don't know if we mentioned it on stream last time, but I know we did talk about, at least you and I did, Jensen's shitty beard he needed to shave.
I missed? No. I don't
Oh,
remember
I
talking about that.
talked to somebody about that. So, like, you saw he had that nasty stubble, and he was shaved this week, though. But Sneaky had his shitty beard, and, like, people comment on it, and Cloud9 being the meme team, he tweeted out, the longer my beard, the more power we have. Which, prior to that, I had seen in a thread, somebody said that Cloud9 needs Dollar Shave Club as a sponsor.
That's awesome.
But, dude, they can't
Sadly,
grow
they
beard.
only get $5 a year.
Those two little kids could not grow beard. I think the only League of Legends player I've seen grow a beard was Lemonation, who Lemonade was much like me. He was more bald than I am, and had a glorious beard though. He's also one of the older League of Legends players, but yeah, like can't grow beard. I mean, if it's a power thing, keep it sneaky. Absolutely keep it. Otherwise, shave that shit off. It looks terrible. But no, I think Cloud9.
I do love that Samson biblical thing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Something I made a Photoshop thing with him, a glorious like lumberjack beard instead of like a little bit of fucking stubble. Alright, so final matchup though, Longzhu versus Samsung Galaxy. We have a all-Korean quarterfinal. Now granted, SKT is on the other side of the bracket, so we still have the chance of the all-Korean final. Had Samsung been on the same side, it would be guaranteed a non-Korean team would be in the final. Not the case. But we have Longzhu versus Samsung Galaxy.
I think
Seed
that
1 versus
Longzhu
Seed
is
3.
going to take it all 3 games.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think Longzhu is just playing better. They have the early
They're
aggression.
doing everything right. They've
Yeah.
not done anything wrong. Even like every game that they've won, anytime they were behind, they made they made the right changes,
Right.
like mid-play, and they fixed it, and they came ahead.
Like, I feel Samsung Galaxy was in the harder group. And I think that's where people would make the argument that Samsung could win this. However, they went 4-2. They went 4-2, right?
Yeah, sure.
They were not one of the teams who beat RNG. They were not the team, because G2 got that. So they won 4 games. 2 off of Fenerbahce. Who fucking cares? Like, Fenerbahce, great and all, but they don't have the communication. They were in the group stage. They lost all 6 games. So who cares? So they're 2-2 right now. They took 2 games off of G2, who plays the same style, just not quite as good. And they got beat the fuck out by a team who plays more aggressive, RNG. Longzhu also plays more aggressive. I don't see them picking up a game. Unless the meta shifts back to late game, which I think it's absolutely going the other way, and I hope it continues going the other way. I see Longzhu just slapping them around. If they get a game, it's because Longzhu fails. Like, they for some reason only pick 1 winning lane instead of 2 or 3 winning lanes early game, and they make some terrible mistake that Samsung gets ahead. Like, something happens that blows the game open in the first, 10 minutes towards Samsung. Like, something weird happens. I do not expect this to go... I don't expect this to go, for Samsung, a single game.
I don't think they're going to take a game either.
What do you got, Zane?
Again, my sampling of games was not so expansive. But
I mean,
the game I did see, Samsung won, and they won handily, and they looked damn good.
Over
doing it.
Fenerbahce?
Was one of those games Fenerbahce?
No, it
It
wasn't.
was G2. It would have had
Maybe
been.
it was G2.
Yeah.
It had to be. Those are the only 2 teams they beat.
Okay, so it must have been the G2 game then. I
Get yourself a glass or a mug.
don't think they're quite so
I haven't
drastically.
I know you can tip them straight upside down,
That's what you're supposed to do.
but
Okay, drink it however you want. You're good.
Another component of this just comes into superstition outside the actual analytics.
Uh-huh.
Like, I want Samsung to do well.
Oh, why's that?
I couldn't tell you. I just get a good vibe from
I
Samsung.
really like their TVs. Chase, you have a Samsung TV. How are you not on their side? I just grab one. The rest of us have at least half
This
a beer left.
stream today, partially brought to you by Left Hand Brewing,
Oh yeah, we never.
partially brought to you by me.
Mostly brought-
bringing the beer.
We already said you brought to you by you.
Yeah. This one's the black.
All right, so
Porter.
50% me, 25% Left Hand Brewing, and 25% Samsung.
Did you guys see that glorious pour? That's how you're supposed to pour it.
So you're going for Samsung? right?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I don't think it's gonna be quite so one-sided as you guys are saying. I don't think they're that inflexible.
Hold on, you guys have
I
to,
think
to
Longzhu
watch the replay
takes
pour
it
here in a second.
3-1.
3-1.
3-1 Longzhu.
All right. So our overall pick, animal. What's animal? Oh,
Dog?
this animal. No, okay, so our picks are for RNG Fnatic, 3-0 RNG, 3-1 RNG, 3-1 Fnatic.
Go Fnatic.
Then we have
FNC all the way.
3-0 SKT over Misfits, 3-2 SKT over Misfits, 3-1 SKT over Misfits. So we've got a spread there, but all SKT.
Oop, we're gonna see the pour.
3-1 Cloud9, 3-2 Cloud9, 3-1 Cloud9. So we're all on the Cloud9 over WE
Look at
train.
that. Just a straight up upside down pour, and that's all you do. Boom, done.
Glad you could follow the directions on the bottle. I said, this side down.
I did it though.
You did. And then finally, 3-1 Longzhou, 3-0 Longzhou, 3-0 Longzhou over Samsung Galaxy. So that means we all see Longzhou versus Cloud9 happening in the next round, and we have no idea what we expect in the next one, because we have Fnatic over RNG, or the other way, and we have a Misfits, obviously SKT. So it's going to be SKT versus RNG or Fnatic. So the only upset we all see happening, or even two of us see happening, is Cloud9 over WE. Which is...
Am I the only one that has Fnatic going?
Yes.
Yeah. You guys suck.
You're the only one who has two upsets, and we all have Cloud9. So, who do you guys, if you had to pick right now for who's going to win? Yeah, Doggo, indeed, Tub.
Pop.
Pup is Doggo.
Baby puppy.
He's not a baby at all. He's just an asshole. A small one.
Babies can be assholes.
Most babies are assholes.
That's why we don't have any of us. At least that we know of.
I would be very surprised.
I know I don't. I know I don't.
Mostly because I'm sterile.
Up top. No, because whenever I dated somebody, they got pregnant with somebody else about exactly a year later. It's like, yes, the too long to be mine. It's like, oh, you had a child.
No one is that late.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they had a kid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yes! No, anyway. So, if you had to pick right now, who wins it all?
I think Longzhou's taking it all.
Again, who do you say from the two sides then? You have SKT Longzhou, right?
I do.
Okay. I see it being...
Don't get me wrong, I want Fnatic to beat SKT. I just don't think I see it happening.
Yeah.
I think that they've got potential.
Right.
I just don't... I don't see it happening long term.
Yeah, it's funny. I see Longzhou RNG, and I'm really not sure. I see that being a 5-game series personally. Just right now because of the way the meta's going, I really don't know. I'm just gonna right now.
We don't even get to actually make choices, right? Because our next episode will be on Sunday, and this will all be said and done, right?
I am only 24, by the way.
I'm 30 exactly. He's in his 30s.
I'm 30 exactly, you fuck.
Shit. How old are you?
I'm 30 exactly. I just answered that
How
question.
is that possible?
Because we're the same age. I was just born a couple months ahead of you.
Older than me. I was a baby.
No, hey, to be fair, Tub, there are lots of 30-year-olds making a lot of money talking about these games as they happen every night.
We just want to clarify that none of those people are the three of us sitting.
No, we're making no money, and we only talk about this once a week.
Yes.
But they don't get drunk while they do it.
That is something we've got.
Cheers to that.
Advantage us. All right. What point was I? So I see RNG Longzhou, and for me it's really hard. Because if it gets more aggressive, I feel like Longzhou does that better. But Uzi's really good. I see it going 5 games either way if that's what it gets to. My pick in my pick'ems right now is RNG, but I definitely think Longzhou's the favorite. I'm just picking a weird upset because I'm me. What do you got?
No, I feel that too.
You're seeing RNG
I
Longzhou?
want to see
or
some dragon skins coming up.
they could have some sick skins. And Jace would be one of them, because their top lane Jace is a fucking, that's a pocket pick for them.
Yo.
So that would be sick.
If one of you guys could play Warwick between now and then, Give me a cool Dragon Warwick. That'd be awesome.
You know, we need Cloud9 to win it all, because fucking Cloud skins would be dope as fuck. Everybody's like air and cloud based. That'd be sick. Unless they make them all meme based.
If they go like,
like they have a Zaya with a troll face. She's just like the whole time.
That'd be phenomenal.
They choose Azir even though they haven't played it, but he's like actual advice Mallard. Volibear, but he's the confession bear. Okay, moving on. What do you?
Moving on. So this has no bearing on my actual choice. I'd like to think that Samsung wins everything. Like, that's my best case scenario.
Wait, your best case is
What?
Samsung wins everything? Not Cloud9, not Fnatic, not Misfits?
what kind of craziness are you spouting
This
over
one,
there?
put this one back in the cooler. He doesn't deserve it.
Jesus Christ.
His name is Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I want Samsung to take it all. There's a part of me that just wants that.
Samsung already won a fucking finals. They don't need another one. It was Samsung White at the time, but still.
They didn't get skins though.
Yeah, they do.
Did they?
Yeah, they have a Twitch, Talon, Thresh.
Oh,
I
Samsung
don't
has
remember.
already won?
Samsung Galaxy used to have two teams, Samsung Galaxy White and Blue, and White won it. That's the one champion between the three SKTs. It went Fnatic, Taipei Assassins, SKT, Samsung White, SKT, and then we're now in Season 7.
Well, I'm impartial again.
Yeah! He just wants the beer back.
Not totally wrong. That said, I've damn near choked on the milk stout nitro from Left Hand before. That shit does not go down easy.
It's more of a syrup than a beer.
It is.
It's on nitro. It's so smooth.
So anyway,
I'm
So
almost 2
anyway.
years ahead of you.
If the team I see taking everything
yes.
is probably going to be
Samsung Galaxy. You've already told us. You're lying now.
I'm gonna
Fnatic.
Longzhu.
Longzhu, who do you think they'll play from the other side of the bracket?
I think it's going to come down to Longzhu versus SKT.
Okay, so I'm the one who's
Looks
got
a
RNG.
little similar to the bracket that I've got in front of you right
Now,
now.
now, if you had to pick one team, who's your dark horse? Who are you going?
Fnatic.
Please win. You want Fnatic?
For the love of God, please, Fnatic.
I want Fnatic to take it all. Like
I've got to
Fnatic.
love my Cloud9. I mean, they're my boys. But Fnatic Misfits, I'm totally on board with them too.
Like, if
they're
we
so fun from how they got
if
it.
we could
I don't-
somehow get Fnatic and Cloud9 in the finals,
Oh shit!
that would be the
I
that's
was
like
a-
my
I would
favorite.
explode.
I was about to say I hope Fnatic and Cloud9 make it to finals, and Cloud9 gets bent over like a bitch.
Little do you know, they're a power bottom, and that's how they like it.
Yeah. Yikes.
No, I would like to point out though. So like, if we look at the bracket here, we've got Longzhu facing really their stiffest competition. I think in the first round. I think Samsung Galaxy is
I think
probably better.
everyone's gonna face their stiffest competition in the first round. Like
What?
Like I mean,
What? No. You seriously think Fnatic is better than SKT or Misfits are better than RNG? See, I think that's the thing there. We're probably going to see a really good matchup in the semifinal on the SKT, Misfits, RNG, Fnatic side of the bracket.
yeah,
Because SKT and RNG are both good teams. Whereas on the other side of the bracket, Samsung Galaxy is probably a little bit better than WE Cloud9, unless like those two really get their shit together in that first week and then the second week. So yeah, chances of Longzhu making it on are pretty easy. Whereas the other side, like that semifinal is going to be really hotly contested.
I just need one right choice to get my icon.
How many points do you have?
I've got 32,
I've got 29.
and you need 34 points to get the icon. Everything going forward's like 10 points a right pick.
Did you do your pickups for
I
set?
didn't.
So, like,
I didn't
you
wanna
could
do it
have
through my
fucked
How many
up.
points do you get per pick, you said?
10.
You get 10 per pick?
10 per correct pick.
So you can still get it. You just
Wait,
have
so
Yeah.
that means I need to be 100% right
Yeah.
right
No,
now?
no. It's 10 per pick for 3 rounds.
No, it's 10 per pick for the... Yeah. It says...
So it's impossible?
No, hold on. 10 per pick.
Oh,
would be
wait,
impossible.
I lied.
He doesn't know how
it's
shit
5
works.
points for every quarterfinals, and then 10 for every semifinals.
And how many for the final?
20.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
If you got
Okay.
a quarter,
So-
a semi, and the final right, you have enough points to get the icon.
Nice.
Like, it's not like when you're like, oh my god, I'm sure they need to win. I'm like, dude, it's fucking easy.
But there are people that got the points already, and I'm not one of them.
And there's
I'm
people
two.
who have 1 or 0.
There were 29 this morning.
Yes.
There were 29 people
Out of
that
millions.
had 0 to 1 point.
How many
Like,
total entries are there?
It didn't. Let's see. The leaderboard only says.
I thought I could make it to the end of the stream. I can't.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
God, they like
there's like
massively.
4 or 5 million people entered. It looks like 5 million. 5 million entered.
They must have updated
Minimum.
this. This said 29 this morning.
Yeah.
Apparently, but
Where Poro is how many points? Okay,
0.
It's 0 or 1 point puts you in Poro.
That's almost
And-
200,000 people
Almost
that
two-
have picked everything incorrectly.
To be fair, that's also, if you're doing it with your friends, that's a fun game too. To be like, all right, pick the opposite of the winning bracket, and it's still most of those people probably ended up in the caster minion where it's 2 to 9 points. I'm like, motherfucker, how did Misfits make it out? What the Fnatic? So yeah. TSM lost? Son of a bitch, I got 2 points for that.
Well, my bracket, 26 points to 33 is the highest level, which includes you too, since you got 29.
Yeah, I got 29, so we're both in Ancient Krug.
And I got 32, so I was
But yeah.
2 points away from being better than you.
I'm gonna be honest, paying more attention to the dog than you guys. Don't worry, everybody would.
He's more adorable.
He's such a little fuck. Alright, so, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, then you have Longzhu coming out, Zane has Longzhu coming out, I have Longzhu making it there. I think they're probably the favorite. You two both have SKT, and I have RNG. But I think...
I would be surprised. Like, I mean, I'm
But,
going to
you
be
know-
surprised regardless. I mean, what happens if I get, like, none of my choices right out of the first? I'm going to be, like, so boned.
You know, I'm going to be more surprised if my predictions are all right. Because so far, I was like, oh, Fnatic, they were 0-3. Fuck them.
I had a perfect
EDG
week.
was 0-3. Fuck them. And they all fucking show up.
I had a perfect week on, week 1? And then I
Play-ins. You
Play-in.
nailed play-ins.
Yeah, I nailed play-ins, and then I've shit the bed on every other one going
Everyone
forward.
shit the bed.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the more surprising thing is if it all goes as expected. Because that's been the great thing about this world. Nothing's gone as expected, really. Or not much. Like, Longzhu got first. Okay, great. SKT got first. Yep, that's it. Everything else has been, what the fuck just happened?
Well, and then
So-
TSM getting completely knocked out was kind of like an upset. WE
It
taking
was,
the
that
number
was
1
50%
seed.
expected and 50%
You-
unexpected.
But WE taking the number 1 seed was pretty unexpected, honestly.
If TSM didn't get it, WE should have. I think that was generally... But still, no, like... Fucking Flash Wolves getting 1 win only,
Yeah.
and Misfits coming out second. Yeah, no, it's been a crazy Worlds. Been really enjoyable. I'm excited to see what happens going forward, and
I'm glad that we've got more than 3 hours until matches start.
we got several days.
I know. I've got time to play games and enjoy life.
And sleep.
Wait, you enjoy life?
do
gotta
you
teach
know
me
how
how
much
that
work
works.
I've been blowing off to watch matches? All the work. This week I'm going to be so productive at work.
Dude, the last 2 nights I watched the matches live. It's such a better choice.
Yeah, but I had to get up at
It also takes so
4:45
much
this
longer, too.
morning.
Yeah, I was still awake, I remember.
I
Well, I watched all the
texted
matches.
Curtis this morning.
Matches
at
ended at, like,
4:46
3:45.
this morning. I was like, "What the shit just happened? I just saw. I haven't watched the matches yet, though."
Expecting I would see it like a few hours when I
Yeah.
got up.
and then he
I
texted me
responded
3
right.
seconds later. Yeah, shit was crazy. Can't wait to talk about it. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing up, dude?"
I was
Oh, Boys in Blue, man.
say, I think it was the Facebook message this morning that
Yeah.
linked me. It was like before 4 in the morning.
Yeah, it was like 4 a.m.
It's like 3:36 a.m. or something.
I'm pretty sure I linked that out to YouTube between the last matches and discussion of it and Worlds Tonight. So that 3-minute gap. But yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it though for episode 6.
And at least a third of us have almost finished all 4 of our beers. You slackers.
But yeah. So I'm excited for the next week of Worlds, and this will be a lot easier to hit up on Sunday all the time now.
Yes, we just need to get into the swing of this.
I have a week.
Just in time for it to end after 3 more episodes.
I have a week to watch a maximum of 20 games.
A whole
Yeah,
week. You're
a
good to
minimum
go.
of 12.
Oh,
But
No, actually, he doesn't have a whole week.
You got
No,
the same
it still
amount
won't
of
start till
time.
Thursday night.
motherfucker!
Yeah, you're used to Wednesday. It starts tonight. No, it doesn't start for several days.
Ugh.
No, it'll be better. And besides, you really just have to know, overall how it went and be like, oh, these games were close. Let me watch it or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it for League of Lawgers episode 6. We'll see you again next Sunday.
On time, hopefully.
On time. I mean, we were on time tonight, right?
So how do we want the exit to go? Do I want my butt to still be in the picture or not? I know we talked about it last week.
I like how you're ruining it. We're gonna get ending, and Jason's like, how can I fuck this up? Then he walks away. Alright. League of Vloggers, episode 6.
Bye, Tub Tub, and